So some of you might remember that a couple of years ago, I ended up praying in the Dunkin' Donuts down on Main Street for a man's mother who was in the hospital. I was next to him at the counter while he was telling the server, whom he clearly knew, that his mother was really sick and he was really worried. So I must have offered to pray for her, and he thought that I meant right then and there. So we did. And it was this very tender moment that we shared there in the Dunks, because prayer is an intimate thing, of course. So then we both picked up our coffees and walked outside, and I saw him get into his pickup truck, the back of which was plastered with bumper stickers supporting pretty much every cause I hate and insulting a lot of things that I care very deeply about. And so when I told you about this experience in a sermon a couple of years ago, I remember wondering what would have happened if I had seen the truck first. Would I have already closed my heart to that man and not offered to pray with him? Or would I have kept my distance from him in the coffee line and never heard about his mother in the first place? Well, guess what? I saw him again. About 3 weeks ago, same Dunks, except I almost never go in there anymore because I added up how much I was spending in the course of a year. This was a very alarming figure. Alan got me a new coffee maker for Christmas, and someone donated one for the Parish house, so I'm saving a ton of money. But I really miss my Dunkin' Donuts ministry, I have to say. Anyway, I didn't notice him. I'm not sure I would have recognized him, but he recognized me. "You're the lady who prayed for my mother," he said. "How's she doing now?" I asked him. "She died last spring, but she really appreciated what you did. No one ever did that for us before." "Well, I'm a minister," I said. "I was happy to pray for your mother." He thought about this for a second. "No kidding, a minister. Where's your church?" So I pointed out the window up the hill. "Well, maybe I'll come some Sunday," he said. And my very first thought was, uh-oh. You're not going to like it. But fortunately, my heart is sometimes smarter than my thoughts, because I didn't say that. What I said was, "You are welcome anytime. The service is at 10, and you can light a candle for your mother." He hasn't shown up yet, as far as I know. I figured with my luck he would be here today. But if he does show up, I know what I want him to find. I want him to be met at the front door with smiles and an invitation to sign the guest book and make a name tag. I want whoever is ushering that day to greet that man as if he were the exact person we had been waiting for. I hope some of the kids are leading something that day so he can see how wise and kind they are. I hope one of the choirs is singing to give him some beautiful music. I hope we're taking an outreach offering to support an organization doing good and necessary work. I hope someone invites him down to coffee hour and tells him about the service reflection group in case coffee hour is too loud for him. I hope he notices big piles of food on the food pantry shelves. And I hope that even if he completely disagrees with every single word he hears in this room, that he will feel this congregation holding him in love as he lights a candle for his mother during the postlude music, and that he finds here a strong, compassionate, generous, and deeply engaged community, even if it is not the right community for him. Community is the only answer I know. It is the only answer I know to the rapidly rising fascism overtaking our country. And I have become more and more convinced that there is no easy solution to what ails us now. There is no magic. There is no single one thing that we can do. When people feel isolated and disconnected and powerless, they become more vulnerable to the allure of hate. They become more susceptible to the voices of division. They become more able to dehumanize others, particularly those who seem other to them for whatever reason, and then to turn those others into the enemy. And I suspect there is a deep loneliness at the root of so much of this hate. I believe there is a deep fear at the root of the truly heartbreaking beliefs that so many people in our country hold right now. Beliefs such as human kindness is limited. Stripping others of their humanity will somehow improve our own situation, and that there can never be enough for everyone. And the antidote to this hate and to these heartbreaking beliefs is community rooted in dignity, courage, and love. Because it is in community rooted in dignity, courage, and love that we find our strength and our capacity to heal and to help. In other words, I'm pretty sure we fight fascism with potlucks. Last Sunday, Keith and Catherine Dawson, members of this congregation in the diaspora, as I like to say, were visiting, and they generously stayed after the service to have a conversation with us about life in the Twin Cities, what they are experiencing and what they are doing. And they confirmed what I've been reading and hearing for months, that people joining together to show up for each other and to do what needs to be done to make life a little more livable for those who are more vulnerable is what actually makes a difference. Catherine and Keith told us about how they and their neighbors have been getting together about once a week for several months now for a potluck. They eat together, they're getting to know each other, and they figure out what they can do next to help. Right now, they're collecting food to deliver to the local Lutheran church, who then delivers it to immigrant families afraid to leave their homes because of ICE. Some of the neighbors are driving the children of those families to school and back. Others are raising money to pay people's rents because if you cannot leave your house, you cannot go to work. Apparently, the Department of Homeland Security is now paying out rewards, which they call reimbursement opportunities, to the ICE agents who track down the most people like bounty hunters. It is utterly chilling. But meanwhile, one of Keith and Catherine's neighbors has a 3D printer, so she's printing whistles. And the members of the neighborhood Ice Watch carry them at all times, and they've learned the codes to whistle when you see an ice van. And when neighbors hear the whistles, they come out to witness and, if possible, protect the family the ICE agents are looking for. And neighbors are opening up their doors to hide people until the danger passes. We learned that thousands of Minnesotans are doing this all over Minneapolis and St. Paul, using encrypted chats so they can share information quickly and safely. Now, I don't think Catherine and Keith would ever have described themselves as political. He's an IT guy. She's a retired flight attendant who became a used bookseller. But to their surprise, they have become members of an underground resistance. And for the first time in their lives, they are worried about state violence. They are worried about ICE agents acting violently with complete immunity from the law. And they told us that their neighbors, mostly middle-class white people, are experiencing, probably for the first time in their lives, what it means to be afraid of law enforcement agents, truly afraid. Something people of color have long known and experienced in this country. What should we be doing? We asked them. And their answers were simple. 1, meet your neighbors. 2, get involved in your community. And 3, hold some potlucks. Now, lucky for us, we just happen to have a whole bunch of potlucks coming up soon. Our joint Passover Seder with the Harvard UU congregation is a potluck, with the added benefit that we get to join together with our neighbors and do something wonderful together. And the same is true with the potluck lunch after Savna's ordination. In the Nashua UU Church, we get to join with more of our UU neighbors to celebrate one of the most wonderful responsibilities of Unitarian Universalist congregational life, which is to ordain a new minister. We also have 3 memorial services scheduled for this spring, and the reception following each one is put together by volunteers who bring food and flowers to feed that grieving family and the community, all potluck. Pretty much every time we do one of these receptions, a stranger will come up to me and say, I had no idea churches do this. And I say, do what? Even though I suspect I know. This, they say, waving their hand at the tables of beautiful food. And I always answer, this is what community does. So I always tell you the truth, but today I have a little bit of hard truth to tell you, which is that this congregation needs more of you to engage more deeply if we are going to keep thriving and keep doing the work we are here for, which is to deepen spiritually, to take care of one another and be a blessing to this world. Now, if you're already supporting the church financially and volunteering here to the best of your capacity, given the realities of your body, your health, your finances, and your life, this part of the sermon is not for you. So just close your eyes. Let the sound of my voice wash over you like a lullaby. Or think about what you need to pick up at Market Basket later. But for the rest of us, I need to remind us that Unitarian Universalist congregations are do-it-yourself operations. We are like flat pack furniture from IKEA. A great deal, but they need assembly. And like with that IKEA furniture, things go way better when there are more people to help. You need someone to figure out those impossible instructions. You need someone to hold that little wrench tool. You need someone to find the screws you drop. You need someone to bring the cold drinks when the frustration level gets too high and the cursing begins. And you need a few people who have actually built something before. We have a staff here, of course. But Cindy, our office administrator, as we call her, and I are the only full-time staff. And we all work very hard, and we care deeply. But this is a very busy place, and there are over 300 people in our congregation now. The staff simply cannot lead everything that needs leading. We cannot do everything that needs doing. And even more importantly, we shouldn't. Because our way of governance, the way we organize and govern ourselves as a community of faith, is something we call congregational polity. And congregational polity essentially means that the congregation is ultimately in charge. There is no higher authority here than the members. Congregational polity essentially means that this community belongs to you. You make it what it is and what it will be. The staff are here to work alongside you, but we need you to partner with us. And the beautiful news is that if you do partner with us, if you do engage more deeply, it will help you. It will help heal whatever sense of loneliness and powerlessness and despair you may be carrying right now. It will give you a deeper sense of belonging, and it will remind you that you are not alone in your hopes for a better world. And it is only through working together that we create that better world. So I went through the church-wide weekly email, news, needs, and opportunities this week and counted. I counted 36 different invitations to engage in this community in some way. 55, if you also click on the document called Ways to Help, in the Widening the Circle section about social justice. The invitations to engage are wide-ranging in scope and size, from a request to bring some bags of candy to stuff the Easter eggs for our Easter egg hunt, because the spiritual exploration program doesn't have a budget this year, so we don't have money to buy candy for Easter eggs, to the ever-present yet urgent need for Sunday morning ushers and greeters, because without them, who will welcome us as if we were the exact person this congregation was waiting for? There are invitations to sign up for small groups, to take a class, to learn to meditate, to join the newly reforming Spiritual Exploration Council, to become a worship leader, to write a chalice reflection, to bring a dish to the aforementioned potlucks. Saying yes to something doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It doesn't mean exhausting yourself or overcommitting, but it does mean bringing what is yours to bring. Your skills, your financial resources, your strengths, and also your vulnerability, because it does make us vulnerable to try new things or do things that are a little uncomfortable, like standing at the front door and welcoming people who are strangers, or saying yes to leading something, even if you're not sure how to lead or if you're a leader. Engagement means saying, this place matters. These people matter. The work we are doing here matters, and I choose to be a part of it. Well, I need more of you to choose to be a part of it. I need you to fill out a pledge card if you haven't done it yet, and commit to supporting this congregation. And if the world just feels too uncertain to make a financial commitment for next year, I so get it. But you can make a monthly recurring donation in whatever amount you can afford, and stop it or change it if you need to. We need to be strong. We need to be strong enough for whatever hard things are ahead of us. But all of us need that too. We all need to be a part of something larger. We need to work with others for a common purpose. We need to have our loneliness healed, and we need to help heal it in other people. Because community is what will save us, and it is what will help save this country. When people join together, when we invest ourselves and decide we care, we are powerful. Margaret Bowens Wheatley wrote, "There is nothing more powerful than a community that has discovered its own purpose." This is how democracy will hold. It's just potlucks, but potlucks are everything. And I believe that enough of us see that we have a world to remake, that we want to meet what is hard and hurting. We want to rise to what is beautiful and life-giving. We want to do it right here where we live, and we need to do it alongside one another.